Hello learners, and welcome to the final lecture of Money and Inflation, that is lecture 5 under the course of Fundamentals of Economics and Financial Market. Till now, we have learnt a lot about inflation. We have learnt a lot about money. We know the factors that are responsible for causing demand side inflation as well as cost side or supply side inflation. We have also gone through the measures in the form of fiscal and monetary policy adapted by the government. We know the concept of disinflation, reflation and deflation along with inflation. We also know that CPI and WPI are the indices that are used to measure the inflationary rate. When these concepts of inflation, these ideas of inflation, these things were going around, and inflation has always been a concern. One of the economists whom we will be dealing with will be A.W. Philip. So today I will be discussing with you all the Philip curve, which includes both short run and long run Philip curve, the criticisms which were given to the Philip curve, and how this Philip curve was redefined, interpreted by Friedman and Phelps, and then the modified Philip curve. I will also be taking the topic of stagflation, which is also a concerning topic of inflation. See, Professor A.W. Philip discovered, actually for the Britain, he took the data from 1862 to 1957, a long period data, and what he observed was that low unemployment were highly correlated with period of raising money wages. That means if the money wages, wage push inflation, if the money wages are increasing, then unemployment is decreasing. Then observing and analyzing this data, Philip derived, what he did was that he derived from the economy data that he took for over the years, he plotted a graph for each year of the percentage of money wage increase which he took on the vertical axis and the percentage of labor force, that is unemployed, on the horizontal axis. That means on x axis we are taking rate of unemployment and on y axis we are taking rate of change of money wages, or to simply to say, that is we are measuring the percentage of inflation. This curve also suggests that sufficiently high unemployment rate would hold money wages increase down to non-inflationary rate. When Philip was observing this data, he found that the relationship between unemployment and rate of change of money wages was non-linear. A negative relationship existed, a trade-off existed between them. What he found that when the demand for labor was high, the entrepreneur or the manufacturer or the producer definitely would try to increase the production. When the demand for labor is high, entrepreneur or the manufacturer is ready to pay high wages to the labor. That means he is ready to bid up the wages. So the wages of the labor bid up quite rapidly, and the labor is ready to offer his or her services at higher wages. That means the rate of change of wages increasing, prices are increasing, causing inflation. However, this was not true when the demand for labor was less. You know what happened? Labor was found to be quite reluctant. They were not ready to offer the services below the nominal wages, below the current wages. Thus, what he observed that their services at less than prevailing rates, when the demand for labor is low and unemployment becomes high, they were ready to be unemployed than to serve at a lower wage. So, the rate of change of money wages also depends on the rate of change of demand for labor and thus the unemployment. Furthermore, what Philip found that the wages are sticky when they are downwards, because in the year of rising business activity, with the demand for labor to be increasing, the percentage of unemployment was decreasing. Why? Because the employers were bidding up their wages. When the reverse happens, when you enter into a business cycle and the business activity is on a recessionary phase, what will happen? The demand for labor will go down. Then the entrepreneurs or the producers or manufacturer or the employers are not ready to pay higher wages to the labor. But the labor is reluctant to this. He is not allowed, or he is not allowing the employer to bid down his wages. Thus, an element of stickiness was found into this. Philip was of the conclusion that wages, when going up, when bidding up, labor is ready to offer his or her services, but when demand for labor is going down, labor is not ready to offer that services below the nominal wage rate. Thus, an element of stickiness was found. The wages are sticky in the downward direction, and employers are unable to get the worker accept lower wages as readily as they accept higher wages. Using this data, Philip derived a curve that is known as the Philip curve. As I told earlier, on x-axis, Philip took the rate of change of unemployment, that is the rate of unemployment, and the rate of change of money wages were taken on the y-axis. And a downward sloping Philip curve was derived by Philip, stating that there is a trade-off between rate of change of money wages and rate of unemployment. Implies that if in an economy we want to reduce the unemployment rate, then that economy has to bear certain amount of inflationary pressure. According to Philip, the money wage would stabilize with 5% unemployment, that is this point, and the rate of increase in money wages will be held down to 2 to 3% of productivity increase with unemployment rate of 2.5%. And at that time, this analysis, this Philip curve held true in many situations. It was working quite good till the time of 60s. The Philip curve was true for every economy. The unemployment, if we want to reduce the unemployment, then inflationary pressure was creeping in, and if we want to reduce the inflationary pressure, then rate of unemployment was increasing. However, situations in mid 1960s and 1970s destroyed this faith of stability of Philip curve. Why? Because in mid 70s a situation occurred that it was seen that high inflation and high unemployment were working together. In economics, we say this is a stage of stagflation. Stagflation means when inflation and unemployment coexist. So, this was the scenario in mid 70s. So, Philip curve assumed that the demand for labor and supply of labor are functions of nominal wage, but this was not true. The situations were not supporting this. At that time, economists like Milton Friedman, he was there in the role of monetary policy, the American Economic Review, which was published in March 1968. This was given by Milton Friedman, and another economist as Phelps, who gave the paper of Money, Wages, Dynamics and Labor Market Equilibrium. His paper was published in Journal of Political Economy in 1968. In the same year, they mounted a theoretical attack on this trade-off. They said, no, this trade-off is not functional. This trade-off doesn't, this negative relationship that if you are increasing the inflation, the unemployment would reduce, or if you want to reduce the inflation, the unemployment would increase, is not true. So, these economists hold the view that over time worker adjusts their money wages in line with the real wages, and hence no long run trade-off is specified in the Philip curve. So, Philip curve was criticized thoroughly. When this Philip curve was criticized, Friedman and Phelps said that fine, in short run, Philip curve might work. If we are reducing inflation, the rate of change of money wages is less, then unemployment would increase, or if we want to reduce unemployment, the rate of change of money wages would increase. Obviously, they are giving more wages to the labor. So, there was a room for this theory for short run trade as given by A.W. Philip. But what Friedman and Phelps pointed out was, in long run, this theory was not functional, it was not working, this trade-off will not exist. Why? Because of adaptive expectation hypothesis. See, it is said that a natural rate of unemployment prevails in the economy, what Friedman after Wicksell calls it. And how do we define this natural rate of unemployment? We say it is the rate of unemployment at which actual rate of inflation equals expected rate of inflation. Whenever inflation, see, adaptive expectation works on the formula that we predict the future on the basis of past. If I say that what would be the rate of inflation or rate of price changes that I am expecting in time t, this can be calculated by what was expected in one lag period, that is t minus 1 time period, plus lambda, that is a coefficient of measuring the change in what? Change in actual price at t minus 1 minus what was expected at t minus 1 time period. So, adaptive expectations helps you to analyze the change, to predict the change, to predict the rate of change of inflation, to predict the rate of change of wages. And Friedman and Phelps also said that natural rate or equilibrium unemployment rate is not a fixed phenomenon. It is not fixed all the time. You cannot fix at this position the natural rate of unemployment would persist or this much. See, this can be explained with the help of a graph. On x-axis, similarly, we are taking the rate of unemployment. On y-axis, we are taking the rate of change of money wages. Now, if I say UN is the natural rate of unemployment, at this UN, there is a short run Philip curve SRPC that is existing in the economy, at which the rate of change of price, that is delta P by P, is equal to 0%. Now, what happens? Suppose expansionary decisions are taken in the economy and expansionary monetary policy is being functional. Expansionary monetary policy would include increase in money supply in the economy. Increase in money supply in the economy would help the producers or entrepreneurs. There will be more capital investment in the economy. If, say, the rate of interest goes down and more credit is taken, more people will take credit, there will be huge investment. Increase in investment would lead to what? Increase in investment would lead to increase in demand for labor. Increase in demand for labor, what will that do? Increase in demand for labor will make labor think that's okay, we are being demanded more, so we should get more wages. So, they will ask for more wages. When expansionary policy happens, labor will ask for more wages. So, according to this, then UN should be shifted to U1. Production would decrease and the rate of change, that is delta P by P, has been 4% by the government. So, what would happen? A higher wage and reduction in production. You are moving below the natural rate of unemployment. That means the resources are not used. But soon, you know what the labor realizes? Labor realizes if change in my wages have increased, price has also increased. There is delta P by P is also increasing. So when he realized that what is his real wage, that is W by P, so he realizes कि no, my real wages have not increased. So what they do? This reason becomes to shift from SRPC, that is short run Philip curve, to SRPC 1 on the same natural rate of unemployment. In the next period, the labor has been adapted to the similar situation, he will do the same thing, and again the SRPC1 curve will go to short run Philip curve 2. When we join point A, point B and point C, joining all these 3 points will lead to a Philip curve that will be vertical to the y-axis. That means that Philip curves gives you that monetary policy becomes ineffective. Matlab, rate of change of money wages is not having an impact on rate of change of unemployment. The rate of unemployment is not changing. Thus, there was a new Philip curve that was vertical to the y-axis, giving an idea that trade-off between unemployment and rate of change of money wages is not existent. Monetary policy is not effective. Same is here, worker expectation is now in accordance with the reality. They have adapted to this. This was adaptive expectation. Money wages is rising at the same rate as expected rate of inflation. Rate of unemployment turns to be natural rate. Consequently, what happens? Reduction in real wages, which is the means by which unemployment rate is reduced and production expands. No longer takes place and trade-off disappear. That I have explained to you. So, Friedman and Phelps, Friedman was of Chicago University and Phelps of Columbia University, argued that there should not be a stable negative relationship, as was told by Philip, that there is a negative nonlinear relationship between rate of unemployment and rate of change of money wages. He said there should not be both of them said that there should not be a stable negative relationship between the two. Instead, what they said a negative relationship should exist between unanticipated inflation, because the labor is not able to anticipate the inflation, that is what actually the inflation is and what is the expected inflation. See, this becomes your you are expecting, but unanticipated inflation can exist. And cyclical unemployment. Cyclical unemployment is a structural, we say certain amount of unemployment do exist in the economy, that is involuntary. That leads to natural rate of unemployment, because natural rate we say कि certain amount of cyclical unemployment exists. So, natural rate of unemployment is termed as NRU, and there is another term NAIRU, that is non-accelerating inflation rate of unemployment, in which when we say cyclical unemployment is also not existent, then we call this as non-accelerating inflationary rate of unemployment, NAIRU. So, the cyclical unemployment, difference between actual and natural, what I said कि certain amount of cyclical do exist, that was given by Friedman and Phelps. Another way of explaining this, the vertical Philip curve, we can explain this and understand this through this graph. See, same full employment rate is taken on x-axis, rate of change of money wages, or we can say price level is taken on y-axis. Now, we go at a level that is assumed that full employment, YF stands for full employment in the economy. At this given state in the economy, the aggregate demand is AD1, which is persistent at 10%, and the aggregate supply, short run aggregate supply is SRAS1. So, the money supply has been growing. It has been interpreted, or it has been speculated that the money supply, seeing the past movement, that the money supply is growing by 10% per year for some time, and the rate of inflation has been 10. Expected inflation will also be 10 when the people have identified or anticipated that the money supply is going or to increase by 10%, that in the next period also the money supply would be somewhat here. I am showing you with the help of a dotted diagram. So, they will expect कि another rise in money supply will be by 10%. So, SRAC S1 would increase by 10%, but anticipation becomes wrong and you encounter an unanticipated inflation in the form that the money supply actually increases by 15% in the year 2. See, this is shown by AD2 at 15%. So, the output increases over and above. See, AD2 is here. So, output would increase over and above the full employment. Here, what happens is unanticipated inflation is associated with higher outputs and unemployment below the natural rate. So, what would happen? You will get a vertical long run Philip curve. This can be shown with the same what I have shown you. Pi I have taken for inflationary pressure. Pi minus pi e is equal to minus h, that is the variable, u minus un, where pi minus pi is unanticipated inflation, h is any positive number that measures the strength of relationship between unanticipated inflation and cyclical unemployment, and u minus un, that is actual minus natural rate, is cyclical unemployment. Gaining this insight from Friedman and Phelps analysis, which was illustrated by Philip curve, actually they said that this analysis depends on expected rate of inflation and natural rate of unemployment. What Friedman and Phelps said, that either of the factor changes, it would lead to shift in the Philip curve, because shifting of Philip curve is responsible for long run Philip curve. So, the policy makers can't keep unemployment rate permanently below the natural rate by determining a higher rate of inflation. Policy makers cannot do so. So, it was a question on the Philip curve that was functional before in the till 60s. So, what we can conclude by this Philip curve and Friedman and Phelps, that when expectation adjust fully, that is adaptive expectations, to actual rate of price level, the rate of unemployment for any inflation is the natural rate, then that becomes the natural rate only, and there is no trade-off between inflation and unemployment. So, as long as there is discrepancy between expected and actual rate, downward sloping Philip curve would be found. That means short run Philip curve existed, that relationship existed, but when discrepancy is there, then long run Philip curve is originated, it is adapted, and there is no such trade-off that exists between rate of unemployment and rate of change of money wages. These conclusions were based on correctness. Fisher also joined Friedman and Phelps, and it was FFP model approach that these conclusions were derived, and the key issue is to extent to which long run expectation adjust to actual inflation. That was also an issue, how these long run expectations are, to what point we will say that workers, labor would adapt to these changing equations. Because if there is no reliance of expectations with reality, short run becomes long run, and the expectation adjusts completely to reality, and the Philip curve becomes vertical. These were the few criticisms that were witnessed. First was vertical long run Philip curve relates to steady state of inflation, but it was not correct because economy is always passing through a series of disequilibrium positions, things are changing. Second, Friedman and Phelps were criticized that it does not explain how expectations are formed. That would be free from any statistical or theoretical biases. It was further believed that workers suffer from money illusion. Money illusion basically means a mirage. See, you must have witnessed when elderly people in our families, they always face this money illusion. If they want to have a rickshaw from say one X place to Y place, they'll always find that the rickshawala is asking more and more money and they'll not easily get a rickshaw. Why? Because they'll compare the rates what they used to give in their younger stage. So, in their elderly stage, they'll they face this money illusion. So workers do suffer from this illusion. And Hyman has estimated that long run Philip curve is not vertical but is negatively sloped. So these all criticisms led to modified Philip curve approach. James Tobin and Solow were the two economists who gave the modified Philip curve approach. What Tobin did was, in his paper on inflation and unemployment, which was published in American Economic Review in March 1972, he tried to merge the long and short run, and he said the vertical portion of the Philip curve at that time, this trade-off does not exist, but in the lower portion like this, see, in this vertical portion he is saying the trade-off does not exist, but in lower portion traces of this trade-off do exist when we shift from U0 to U1, U2 and U3, that is the rate of unemployment. Normal portion, which is negatively sloped, wages are sticky downwards because labor resists to decline in changes. Similarly, Robert Solow in his paper on down the Philip curve with gun and camera, he said that vertical curve is at positive rate of inflation and is horizontal at negative rate of inflation. That means the curve, the Philip curve become horizontal at negative rate of inflation. So these were the modifications that were witnessed in the Philip curve. However, Philip curve do exist. Now, as I pointed out earlier also, that another thing that I will be discussing would be stagflation. So stagflation has two explanations. Stagflation basically means coexistence of unemployment and inflation, a situation that occurred which led to the trust factor with the Philip curve. However, this analysis follows directly from the Philip curve. Suppose that at 10% rate of inflation had existed long enough for inflationary expectations to adjust fully, the relevant short run shows the rate of unemployment is UN. So what do we see? The rate of unemployment is UN at 10% rate of money wages. The price is delta P by P is your 10% inflationary rate. The excess supply of workers does exert some downward pressure on the rate of increase of money wages, but because expectations of future price increases remain at 10%. So what would happen? Actually, the prices have gone down. Actually, when there is contractionally policy working, the inflationary rate has gone down, and this has led to shift from natural rate to U2. Unemployment then exceeds the natural rate or full rate by amount of U2 minus UN. So you can see the inflation is going down and the unemployment is also going down. So there was a direct relationship that if the inflation is down, the unemployment is also going down. Another was given by F.A. von Hayek, in which he said that monetary expansion that produces inflation temporarily lowers the projects are undertaken because temporary decline in interest rate is assumed to be sufficiently permanent. So you will see that if interest rate is going down, more and more people are being hired. So these were the stagflation. So that was all for today, and your self-evaluation question would include: how do you reconcile the long run Philip curve with a downward sloping short run Philip curve? Explain through a diagram. You have to explain the Philip curve, and I think by this you can explain the Philip curve well. These are few suggested readings of Gardner-Ackley of Macroeconomic Theory, Edward Shapiro, Macroeconomic Analysis, J.I. Laliwal, The Theory of Inflation, and Sapant Mukherjee, Analytical Macroeconomics. That will help you to support what you have read. So, thank you.